let's go out to Aubry in San Diego. Aubry, what's happening?
Hey, yo, how are you?
I'm good. You're there?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes. And so my understanding is you sent in a note and then you called back and asked, hey, the note was about your fiance, and you called back and said, hey, could my fiance be on too? Is that still good?
Yes.
Oh, this is going to be awesome. All right. I'm going to bring on fiance Kyle in San Diego. Kyle, are you there?
Hey, what's up, John? How are you?
What's up, Kyle and Aubry? All right.
Yo.
So here's how I'll play referee here. I don't fully know what's happening, but Aubry, you give me the rundown of why you originally called in, and then we can go from there.
Okay, yeah. So we're engaged, and we've been together for 5 years.
5 years? What's taking you so long, Kyle?
Oh, yeah, I've been in trouble for that before.
Yes, you should be. God almighty. Okay, Aubry, go for it. It's all right. You're good. Take a breath. Take a breath.
And that's just kind of okay. That's just kind of the thing is, I don't really feel like I'm his one, but I do feel like he's mine. And my original question was I just don't know if we should get married.
Okay, tell me about it. When you say you feel like he's your one, but you're not his, are there other women in the picture?
There has been, and there's only been one major downfall with that. Like, sometimes, mostly in the past, it's just been kind of lingering, and he didn't really act on it. But there was just one major incident, but that was in the past. That was okay. We got over that. But now, like, it's still kind of like happen. Like the lingering is still happening. It sucks right now because we're engaged, we're getting older, and we're getting closer to being married. And so I'm just scared of being in a marriage where, that's going to continue to happen because it's happened quite often in our past.
When you say lingering, what do you mean? Like y'all are out at a restaurant and he just stares somebody up and down, or he's got people that he talks to, or there's people on his social media that he's always checking on? Like what do you mean lingering?
Yeah, like he's messaged, like flirted, like want to make other girls feel good or want to get attention from other girls.
Okay. Kyle, what say you, man?
What was that, John?
What's like when you hear that, when you hear your fiance of 5 years, like weeping, and she says, man, I love this guy. He's my one, but I don't know if I can marry him because he's always messaging other women and talking to other women and trying to get attention from other women. How does that sit with you? Is that true? Is that not true? What do you think?
I mean, it's unfortunately, I have been, emotionally unfaithful. I've never physically done anything with anybody like that, but I've sent messages and yeah, I mean, at one point I did go on a date. That was maybe a year and a half ago. We were going through some trouble, and then I did go on a date, and nothing happened again. But it did hurt her a lot, and it hurt me too. And I mean, we've been together for 5 years, and we've been engaged for the beginning of this year, and we're set to get married in December, so the end of this year. And I mean, I hate that I had hurt her, and I'm hearing her say it. I've heard it before, and on my end, I'm not defending myself. I'm not saying I didn't do anything. At the same time, in this relationship, I've asked of my future wife for certain, efforts in our relationship that she also doesn't take seriously or into consideration or
efforts like what?
There's in the beginning I put a lot of effort into her family, and I know she did too into mine, but I really put a lot of effort into getting her family and all of us good. There's just a little bit of distance there, so I have a close relationship with my family, and it's always like, let's check up on each other, and there's a big connection with them, and sometimes I just don't feel that from Aubry on me, and so it just, that lack of effort from that side, especially because my family is, they're important to me. Sometimes I feel like it gets in the way. Physically, I feel like sometimes there's just no romance and intimacy. I mean, we haven't been intimate in a while, and every time we try, the past that I've done to Lexi, sorry, John, to Aubry, is, it gets in the way, and she rejects me. Her body we can't get very far because, the past or more recently it was, we just weren't in a good place the last time we kind of tried. And yeah, I mean, I feel rejected as a man. I'm like, hey, I want to be intimate with you. I want to, we've been together for a very long time. And, at the same time though, I also want to do things right. And I know we had to get married, and, I was making my effort. I am making my effort, trying to make things work. Sometimes I really feel like we disagree on a lot. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed, a little confused. I mean, this is a commitment for a lifetime. One thing we talk about all the time is, hey, it's marriage. It is once and for all. And I know that. That's why I don't want to be a hypocrite to her. She calls me, a hypocrite, which I have been, but I definitely don't want to be a hypocrite. We're engaged and we were boyfriend and girlfriend, but surely I won't bring that into a marriage.
I 100% promise you will. The hardest thing about getting a new car or getting a new wife or getting a new house or getting a new job is that you go with you. And do I have your permission to kind of just be blunt and be straight up? Is that cool?
No, absolutely.
Like, we're on the same team, so it's all good. I think there's more to it. I would be willing to bet money, and I don't have a lot, but I'd be willing to bet money that you haven't told her everything. Because here's why. First of all, let me say this. When I say that out loud, true or false, there's more to it.
True, and I did mention more last night. I confessed to her that I had resorted to pornography because there was lack of intimacy with us, and unfortunately, that's where the temptations would creep in. And yeah, I have given into them in that sense. So I talked about that with her yesterday.
Okay. I think there's even more than that, but I'm not there. I'm not in San Diego. Here's what I need you to hear, both of you. When you get married, it's sickness and in health. When y'all get married, it's I'm done being me, and now me is now we. It's us. And Kyle, with all due respect, man, but I'll say it for both of you, Aubry and Kyle, you have created a world where neither of you can win. And both of you have chosen to blame the other person for the decisions and choices that you're making. And so, Kyle, you didn't have to go to pornography. You didn't have to message girls on the internet or on Instagram. You didn't have to go meet people in person because you had lack of intimacy. You did those things because you chose to. That's just a decision you made. And something about you and whatever the state of your relationship is, the safety that emanates from you is not translating to Aubry so much that the intimacy and closeness that she's craving, her body shuts her down, shuts it off. Says, this guy's not safe. There's something else here. And so if you're marrying my daughter, Kyle, I don't want you marrying her just because, I want to do it right. I don't want you marrying her for that. I want you marrying my daughter because you can't imagine drawing a full breath for the next 50 years without her by your side. And doesn't sound like this at all. So Aubry, when you hear this, or let me ask you this, Aubry, can I be straight up with you too?
Yes.
It sounds like you're done. You just can't fathom starting over somewhere again. And you still love this guy because you always will. But it sounds like you're done. Are you done?
Absolutely not. No. I want, and
Kyle, are you done?
No.
Be honest, bro. Like, for real. Are you done? And you don't want, I know you love her, and I know you don't ever want to hurt her. But are you finished?
I feel as I am.
You feel what? I didn't understand it.
I feel as though I am, and yeah.
You am what? You feel like you're finished?
I am done.
Okay. Have you told her that?
I have.
Okay.
But I've also told her that maybe I am wrong, and this phone call, it was an effort to see if I am absolutely out of my mind, making the wrong decision. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Well, I'm going to applaud you for being honest. I appreciate that. Aubry, I've been ball hogging all this time with Kyle. You've heard this. You've been feeling this. I'm assuming none of this is new. And you say absolutely not. Walk me through that.
I mean, I love him, and I know that marriage isn't perfect. And I feel like I'm kind of on the spectrum of optimism and negativity. I'm kind of stupid optimistic, and I want things to work. I know marriage is through thick and thin. And so, we do have to have bad times and have the good times and all that. And I'm willing to work with him. And we've had this conversation over and over again. And
so let me ask you this, Aubry. Know. If behavior is a language, without using words, if behavior is a language, for the past 6 months, what has Kyle been telling you?
Sometimes he's in it. Sometimes he's in it. Sometimes he's really in it. But then when he gets down, he gets really down. And right now it's just absolutely, he wants to be gone. He's making that so obvious that he makes me feel disgusting that I'm going to be the one that he's marrying. He obviously doesn't want that, but he doesn't leave. He's still here. And so it does give me optimism that, maybe we will work through it, because we always do. So it's hard for me to tell, is it over? Is it not? You're still here.
How come you haven't just bailed, Kyle? How come you haven't just called it?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I love Lexi. I don't want to hurt her. You were right when you said that. And I sometimes think that, this is all it's just temptation. It's just bad mentality. I'm thinking wrong. But then there's the side of me that's like, hey, this is a commitment, and you guys are fighting, quite often. And it's not something, it's not, I don't want to be in a marriage where we're constantly, fighting, and it's little bickerings here and there. And we don't understand each other on some, important beliefs. I've asked her, and she says, okay, I will try too. But then I don't see that effort. And I'm like, even last night I asked her, Aubry, the effort you were talking about, where is it? And have you brought that here? And then, and I'm not talking about intimacy either. I'm talking about hypocritically, but like, personally, going to church and then maybe joining a church community, maybe it might be healthy for us if we do, because, this and that, but there's no effort from that or on that from her side. And that does hurt me because, the way I envision my future family is a certain way. And it's just not translating, or Aubrey's doesn't want that. And I asked her, that's fair if you don't want that, but then that's what I want. And so
except I think she brought up a good point, brother. And I just want to like again, you and me are just having a drink, eating nachos, and I just want to call it out. I'm not saying this in the patriarchal way, in the nonsense way from the bro literature. Okay. I'm not trying to bro down, but dude, you've got to lead the life you want to lead. And so if you want to be a guy whose family goes to church every Sunday, whether you're dating somebody or not, be a guy that goes to church every Sunday. If you want to be a guy that doesn't have a house that there's not a lot of fights, then every single day of your life, ask the person that you're in love with, how can I love you better today? And I'm going to do what I can to not have a house with fights. And if I'm with somebody who's wants to fight or is spicy, who are always picking stuff, then I'm going to make some choices to not be in that relationship. But it sounds like you have this dream, but you want somebody to drag you along into that dream. And if they don't drag you into that dream, you're just like, well, bro, things are going to happen then. But you can do that. I'm just going to beg you, man, don't get married. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to Aubry. And Aubry, same thing. You want to have laughter and joy and fun, and you want to be married. All of that's awesome. But you've got to do the things in your life for you that are going to bring you closer to joy and optimism and excitement and fun. I think in a weird way, I don't know that you're optimistic. I think you just want something so bad that you will put blinders on and pretend that the rest of the world has just gone blank, because you're bound and determined to make this thing happen. It's like the person who wakes up one day and it's like, I'm losing 50 pounds, period. Not, I'm going to be healthier and I'm going to be a good steward of my body. I'm going to change my life, but I'm losing 50 pounds. And they start off running 8 miles a day on a treadmill. And then they start not skipping meals. And then 6 months later, they're taking diet pills and they're way down a rabbit hole, because the goal was just to sever this weight off my body. It was never about getting well and whole. And it feels like you're in your head, I'm getting married to that guy. I'm going to overlook the fact that he keeps telling me he doesn't want to be with me anymore. I'm going to overlook the fact that he is engaging with other women. I'm going to overlook the fact that every time I'm around him, I pick fights with him and I drive him crazy. I'm going to overlook the fact that my body shuts down every time we try to get close to one another. I'm going to override all that crap because I'm getting married to him. And that's a dangerous goal to have when you start throwing away all the other data points. Here's my hope, man. I can't think of anything that would bring me more joy than y'all calling me in a few months and being like, hey, come to our wedding in San Diego. That'd be awesome. And right below that, and that's just because I'm a romantic sucker, right below that, I can't think of anything that would bring me more joy than two adults looking at each other saying, we've been together 5 years and I love you. And I love you too. But just because we love each other doesn't mean we're right for each other forever and ever. Amen. And as painful and as gut-wrenching and as heartbreaking and as dark as it's going to be, we're going to spend some time apart and see what that's like. Either one of those paths is fine. I think the challenge is y'all both have to recognize that both of you get to choose that path. How's that land on you? So, Kyle, you've heard me talk. Do you have any more peace at the end of this call? It feels like you're headed towards a little more security in what you see down the road.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, nothing would make me happier than either one of those either, just the right one.
That's fair. Let me say this.
You know?
There's not a right or wrong one. There's one that we're going to choose. And for both of you, marriage is this. Every day of my life, I wake up and I ask myself, how can I love her better? And every day I wake up and I decide I'm going to be a great person to be married to. Every day I wake up and decide I'm going to love her or I'm going to love him. That's marriage. It's not a feeling. It's not a, dude, if you don't do this, then I'm going to do this. That's not marriage. That's a transaction.
That's true.
That's a transaction. If you don't give me $4, I'm not giving you a burger. That's what you do at Burger King, bro. I guess not marriage. Right? Marriage is like, how can I love you today?
True. Yeah.
And y'all aren't anywhere close to that. You could get there by December, but y'all are just going to have to make some pretty grown-up decisions about how y'all treat one another. And that may look like, Kyle, you smashing your phone. It may look like you deleting all social media apps and not calling anybody. And Aubry, that may look like you deciding to have family meals at your house once a week and become part of this thing. Because if you marry Kyle, his whole family comes with him. He's been pretty clear about that. You don't get Kyle without getting the family.
I also don't want to overwhelm her, but actually, it's just, time to time.
It's 5 years.
Wish him a happy Father's Day, like
it's
she
5
didn't
years.
even wish him a happy Father's Day.
It's 5 years. It's 5 years. We're past that now. 5 years. So here's honestly, like, if y'all could, I say be grown-ups, be adults, but I don't mean that in an ugly way. But I mean, if y'all could almost with business like a business-like persona, set up a long 3-hour breakfast together and go out 10 years and say, we get married in December, and we will have been married for 9.5 years. What would we want our life to look like then? Kids, jobs, where are we living? Have we moved out of one of the most expensive places on planet Earth? Or have we decided to stay here because it's just so beautiful? What do we want our life to look like? And then back it up. What would we have to do right now to make that happen? And then you'll have to ask yourselves, am I in on that? And Kyle, you may have to look at her and say, I'm not in. I don't ever want to hurt you. I love you, but I'm not in. And I'm going to stop coming around. I'm going to leave the house. I'm going to go find my own place. I'm going to go find my own way. And Aubry, you might say, I don't want a guy that is always texting and flirting with other women on social media. And I don't want a guy that goes on dates without me. And I don't want a guy that fill in the blank. And I want you to have the courage and strength to say, I love you, Kyle, but this is not for me. Or I want you to both look at each other across the table and say, I'm in. I'm in. Kyle, you're looking for some magic, fairy dust to come from the sky to give you the answer. It's not going to come. And Aubry, you're waiting for this moment when all of the other things in this picture are going to get swept away, so it's just perfect and happily ever after. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to be two adults who sit down at a table and say, are you in or are you in? And if you're not all the way in, then you're all the way out. And I will love you. I'll always have a spot for you in my heart. But we're going to have to do the right thing now. Thank y'all so much for being brave and for walking me through. I would love it if you reached out and let me know. Let me know. It's a coin flip, guys. Y'all choose. I'm grateful for you.